Okay, so there's really nothing quite like watching a baby, discover the world around them.
Magical, isn't it?
Totally. Every little coo, every wobbly sit, every tiny grasp feels like this huge achievement.
Mm-hmm.
But, amidst all that wonder, it's so natural to have questions pop up.
Absolutely. All the time.
You might find yourself thinking, okay, is this normal? Am I seeing what I should be seeing right now?
Right. That uncertainty is common.
Well, if those kinds of questions sound familiar, you are definitely in the right place today.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking a deep dive into the truly incredible first year of a baby's life.
Such a transformative time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our mission here is really to be your compassionate guide through all those amazing milestones of infant development.
And crucially, to shed light on what signs might signal a need for maybe closer attention.
Yeah. We really want to equip you with clear science-backed insights so you can feel confident and, really supported on your parenting journey.
It's fascinating, really, how much happens in such a short span.
Right.
And understanding these developmental patterns, well, it could be incredibly empowering for parents.
Empowering is the perfect word.
We'll explore how these early observations can offer really valuable insights, helping you navigate this special time with a bit more confidence.
It truly is like a grand symphony of growth, isn't it, that first year? It's just a period of such intense and complex development.
Huge shifts.
Huge, across physical, mental, emotional, social domains, all of it. It's not just about getting bigger.
Not at all. It's a whole blossoming of skills, a qualitative leap.
A transformative leap in abilities, like every single day, it feels like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this brings us to what we call developmental milestones.
Okay, the milestones.
Yeah. Think of these as guideposts, skills most children tend to achieve by a certain age.
Guideposts, I like that.
But, and this is so important to remember, while there are these typical patterns, every single child is an individual.
Right, unique paths.
Exactly. They really do follow their own unique path, influenced by both their biology and their environment.
So don't panic if they're not hitting it on the exact day listed in a book.
Precisely. Individual differences are entirely normal and usually nothing to worry about at all.
That's such a crucial point. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit. Let's talk about some of the key skills that really form the building blocks for all this early growth.
Good idea.
First up, there's something really fundamental called joint attention. What exactly is that, and why is it such a big deal?
Right. Joint attention. It's a cornerstone skill, truly. You can kind of picture it like a triangle of attention.
A triangle?
Yeah. It's when an infant can share attention with you in a coordinated way. So like if you point to a toy and say, look at the ball, and your baby looks at the ball, and then, this is key, looks back at you, kind of checking, are we both looking at this?
Ah, okay. Sharing the focus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're demonstrating joint attention. And what's fascinating here, the reason it's such a big deal, is that this skill is a prerequisite for so many other areas, especially language development. Think about it. Without the ability to share a focus of attention, it's much, much harder for a child to learn that a certain word refers to a specific thing or person.
That makes total sense. Okay. So once a baby can share attention, what's sort of the next big leap in learning we often see?
Well, once they've got that shared attention down, the next major step is often learning by example, what we call imitation.
Imitation, copying.
Exactly. It's an infant's capacity to copy what they see and feel from adults or, even other children.
Right, like when one baby starts crying and then another one joins in.
That's a very early example,
Yeah.
yeah. Or how they'll smile back when they see you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, you'll even see something called deferred imitation.
Deferred, what's that?
That's where a child can repeat an action they saw maybe hours or even days earlier.
Wow, like remembering and replaying.
Precisely. This ability to mimic is deeply connected to, fundamental learning processes. It's underpinned by what researchers call mirror neurons in our brains.
Ugh, mirror neurons, I've heard of those, like the yawning thing.
Exactly the yawning thing. You see someone yawn, you often feel the urge to yawn too, right?
Definitely.
It's like our brains are already saying, oh, I know that feeling. I can do that.
Yeah.
Imitation allows learning through interaction, through attunement to the world.
So it's key for learning.
Absolutely key. And this is why, for children with developmental differences, like those with autism, difficulties with imitation can really impact their learning journey.
Right.
And it often becomes a focus in early interventions.
Okay. And linking into that whole interaction piece is this, this beautiful concept of co-regulation and emotional connection. How does that dynamic dance between a parent and child really shape development?
Co-regulation.
Mhm.
Yeah, dynamic dance is a great way to put it.
Mm.
It's the amazing ability of a caregiver and child to regulate their emotions, their ideas, their behaviors together.
Together. Okay.
We often refer to it as a tonic dialogue.
Tonic dialogue.
Yeah, like a continuous, responsive conversation, but without words. Where parents and children modulate their voices, they adjust to each other's vocalizations. They anticipate and regulate emotional cycles together.
Like a rhythm.
Exactly like a rhythm. It's through this constant dynamic interplay that a child builds an internal representation of the world, learning how to manage their feelings and thoughts.
Wow. That sounds foundational.
It is. It's a vital prerequisite for healthy emotional and cognitive organization. It allows the child to express themselves and adapt to their environment.
Mm-hmm.
And what's truly remarkable is that research suggests this process actually has roots even in pregnancy.
Really? Before birth?
Yeah, almost like a natural, harmonious rhythm already forming between mother and baby, kind of setting the stage for that deep emotional attunement later on.
That's incredible.
It is. And unfortunately for children who develop atypically, these co-regulation abilities can often be impacted. Well, it can sometimes lead to more negative adaptive strategies. Higher levels of emotional dysregulation, things like anxiety or even aggression sometimes.
Okay. So with all this incredible development happening, it makes sense that parents wonder, okay, what should I actually be looking for? When should I maybe observe a little more closely?
Right. That's the natural next question.
Let's talk about those alarm bells or red flags, those early signs that might suggest an atypical developmental path.
Mhm.
And let me just jump in and say here, noticing a single sign isn't automatically a cause for panic.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. That's so important.
It's more like an invitation to observe more closely, maybe do a little research, and if needed, seek professional guidance. And remember, you are absolutely not alone in facing these questions.
That's exactly right. And early detection is incredibly important. Research points to several specific areas to watch for in babies during that crucial first year.
Okay, like what specifically?
Well, for example, you might notice limited eye contact, or that your baby rarely smiles or makes other facial expressions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Perhaps they don't respond consistently when you call their name, or their babbling or early speech seems delayed, maybe with minimal use of gestures like waving or pointing.
Gestures too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sometimes parents observe unusual reactions to sounds, lights, or textures, or repetitive movements like body rocking or hand flapping.
Mm.
Another sign to consider is if your baby appears, consistently more interested in objects than in people, like preferring to stare at a spinning fan over engaging with faces.
Right. And are there even earlier signs, like in the first few months?
Yes. More specifically, you can watch for difficulties with what we call gaze regulation, just how a baby directs their eyes, and also anticipatory gestures, especially within the first 6 months.
Anticipatory gestures, like reaching out before you hand them something.
Kind of, yeah, preparing for the interaction. Also, pay attention to the frequency of rhythmic arm movements. These typically peak around the time babbling begins.
Interesting connection.
Yeah, for some infants who later follow atypical developmental paths, that relationship between arm movements and babbling might be less present.
Okay.
And similarly, infrequent initiation of or response to those giant attention cues we talked about earlier, that can be a significant indicator too.
Right, the triangle of attention.
Mm-hmm. And as we discussed, in cases of atypical development, there can be a tendency towards more negative ways of adapting and higher levels of that emotional dysregulation.
Okay. So if these are the specific behaviors to watch for, the really crucial next step is understanding how to interpret them. Because like we said, it's not about one isolated thing.
Exactly. It's about patterns.
Right. Recognizing broader patterns that might signal, okay, maybe we should look into this a bit more. So what influences these developmental paths beyond just the typical milestones?
That's a perfect question. Because a baby's unique developmental path isn't just shaped by their genes or, your direct interactions day to day.
There's more to it.
There is. What's truly remarkable, and maybe a little humbling, is that even seemingly subtle factors can contribute to this incredibly intricate, individualized blueprint.
Like what kind of factors?
Well, it's a powerful reminder that every tiny human is like a universe unto themselves. For instance, research shows that the exact gestational age at birth,
How long they were in the womb.
precisely, Even small differences there can be a significant factor. We're talking about the scientific measure, and even minor variations can lay a different foundation for early development.
So every week
It
counts.
really seems to. Every extra week your baby spends growing inside acts like a protective cushion, if you will, building a stronger foundation for their developing skills, motor skills, communication, everything.
Wow. Okay. What else?
Another crucial factor is familial risk.
Meaning if other family members have developmental differences.
Yes. Specifically, if there's an older sibling with an autism spectrum disorder, the risk for another child in that family developing ASD increases significantly, sometimes dramatically so.
Right. I've heard that.
It points to a clear genetic component that researchers are still actively exploring. And they particularly note higher risks for boys, and also if there's more than one older autistic sibling.
Okay. Genetics play a role. What about during pregnancy?
We also see how maternal health during pregnancy plays a part. For example, some studies, perhaps surprisingly, suggest that conditions like gestational hypertension might actually decrease the odds of developmental delay for the child.
Oh, interesting. Not what you might expect.
Right. It's complex, and even the mode of delivery has been looked at. Some research indicates decreased odds of delay for single babies born by C-section,
Okay.
but an increased odds for twins born via an induced delivery. It's truly a complex web of influences.
It really is. So, wow, what does this all mean for us as parents? This isn't about creating worry, right? It's about empowerment through knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
So let's shift to the positive, the proactive side. What tools and methods are actually available to support early detection and, crucially, to provide interventions that can make a real difference? What does this all mean for you as a parent?
Yes. Let's talk solutions. When it comes to early detection, there are valuable screening tools available.
Like checklists or questionnaires?
Sort of. One example professionals use is something called the PREAUT grid. It can help identify the risk of atypical development within the first year.
What does it look at?
It helps professionals assess a child's capacity for synchronous, spontaneous play and joyful interactions, basically how they engage.
Okay.
Then for slightly older infants, maybe around 18 to 24 months, there's also the chat scale. That assesses more specific behaviors and play patterns linked to the likelihood of autism.
So these tools help flag potential concerns.
Exactly. They aren't diagnostic on their own, but they're really helpful signals that maybe a closer look by a specialist is needed.
Okay. And if a concern is flagged,
Then the importance of early intervention really cannot be overstated.
getting support early on.
Yes. Research consistently shows that providing support early can make a world of difference. It often prevents or delays the full emergence of more severe difficulties.
That's huge.
It is. It boosts communication and social skills, setting children up for much better long-term outcomes.
Are there specific interventions that are known to be effective?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
One highly effective, well-researched intervention is the Early Start Denver model, or ESDM.
ESDM. Okay.
This isn't just therapy in a clinical sense. It's very play-based, very hands-on. Parents and therapists work together.
So parents are involved.
Deeply involved. They teach communication, social skills, cognitive abilities, often integrated right into the child's everyday routines and play. It's designed for children at risk for or diagnosed with ASD.
And it works.
Studies have shown its effectiveness time and again, both in improving outcomes for the child and in training parents to be active, effective participants in their child's development.
That sounds really promising. What about things parents can do themselves, maybe even before any formal diagnosis?
Absolutely. And here's something incredibly practical and, well, empowering. Simple developmental training given to mothers or any primary caregiver really has been shown to significantly improve fine motor skills in babies.
Simple training. Like what?
We aren't talking complex therapies here. We're talking about activities like showing your child how to tear pieces of paper
Oh, okay.
or how to put a spoon into a basket. Simple targeting tasks. You can also build towers with blocks together, practice stringing things like Cheerios or large beads.
And most people have at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And provide plenty of opportunities for painting and writing or scribbling, really. These simple interactions done consistently are incredibly impactful. They really can make a world of difference.
Those are fantastic, really actionable ideas that, like you said, any parent can try. It truly is remarkable how quickly these seemingly simple actions build into the complex little individuals they become.
It happens so fast.
It really does. And, speaking of everyday life, all this science helps us understand the amazing journey of development, but let's be honest, parenting also comes with its own set of common challenges, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Sleep, feeding, crying, the list goes on.
Right. But the good news is many of these hurdles can also be navigated with science-backed insights. And the most important message here is you are not alone in facing these.
Such a universal truth. And thankfully, yes, there are science-backed approaches to help manage these common bumps in the road.
Okay, let's touch on a few big ones. Sleep, always a hot topic.
Always. For sleep, many parents find gentle sleep training methods helpful. Things like pick-up, put-down, or fading, where you gradually reduce support.
Gentle methods, okay.
Yes. There are also comprehensive programs out there that combine various gentle approaches, often focusing on emotional connection and flexible routines alongside the sleep training itself.
Kind of what's key.
The key, really, no matter the method, is consistency. Having predictable bedtime routines like baths, maybe a gentle massage,
Yeah.
are critically parental self-care.
Ah, yes. Often overlooked.
So important.
Yeah,
Because a well-rested parent is just better equipped to support their child patiently.
makes sense. Okay, what about feeding and digestion? Any tips there?
Well, some parents explore organic baby formula options, the idea being potentially lower chemical exposure, and some find it easier on digestion. And for common issues like colic or maybe diarrhea, experts often discuss infant probiotics. They may offer some relief.
But talk to your doctor first.
Always. Always consult your pediatrician before introducing any supplements. That's crucial.
Got it. How about skin health? Eczema seems so common.
It really is. For managing eczema, the basics are key. Consistent moisturizing, using lukewarm baths, not hot ones, and avoiding overheating.
Simple stuff.
Often the simple stuff works best. Plain petroleum jelly, like Vaseline, is frequently recommended and very effective as a barrier.
Okay.
If flare-ups get severe, of course, your doctor might suggest topical steroids, which are safe and effective when used exactly as prescribed.
Right. Okay, two more big ones. Anxieties. Stranger anxiety. Separation anxiety. These feel tough.
They do feel tough, but navigating these anxieties is actually a normal part of development. Stranger anxiety often kicks in around 6 to 8 months, maybe peaking between 12 and 15 months. And separation anxiety is common between 8 and 18 months. These are actually signs of healthy attachment. Your baby knows who their safe people are.
So it's a good sign, even if it's hard.
Exactly. You can offer lots of reassurance, practice consistent, quick goodbyes, don't sneak out, and gradually help them learn to self-soothe.
Okay, and finally, teething. Ugh.
Uck is right. Teething usually starts around 6 months, give or take. Comfort strategies are your friend here. Cool objects to chew on, like a chilled washcloth or teething ring. Gentle gum massages with a clean finger, or offering chilled soft foods if they're eating solid.
Relief measures.
Exactly. And look, for more in-depth science-backed articles on all these topics, sleep, feeding, skin, anxiety, teething, and much more, I really encourage you to visit www.babykidshealth.com. There's a ton of great info there.
That's a fantastic resource. Wow, what a wealth of information we've covered today.
We covered a lot.
We really did. And it reinforces that idea, doesn't it? Parenting is truly a team sport, and together we are stronger. Having these kinds of insights can make such a difference in feeling confident and connected during this whirlwind first year.
It truly can. And, even with all the science and all the research we have, each baby really does hold their own unique developmental blueprint.
Yeah.
So I think the fascinating question we're kind of left with is, how can we continue to honor that individuality, that uniqueness, while still providing the very best possible support for every single child?
That is a powerful thought to leave with. How do we balance the science with the individual? Well, we really hope this deep dive has provided you, our listeners, with valuable insights and maybe some practical strategies for your own journey.
We hope so.
And we'd love to hear from you. Share your experiences, your questions. You can find us on social media.
Please do.
And definitely, for that wealth of evidence-based information and to continue your learning journey with a really supportive community, please visit www.babykidshealth.com.
Great place to continue the conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into early development. Until next time, keep observing, keep supporting, and keep learning right alongside those incredible little humans in your life.